Your kitchen or bath is looking pretty embarrassing. With CMK Construction, they ask the right questions, design with intention, and deliver results that get noticed. CMK backs it up, beating any competitor's price by 5%. CMK Construction just won Best of the Best for an incredible 6 years in a row. They transform Tampa homes into dream spaces, functional, beautiful, timeless. Call CMK Construction today or visit cmkconstructioninc.com. CMK Construction. Imagine, design, build.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by CMK Construction, crafting Tampa's most exquisite bathrooms and kitchens.
How you doing, everybody? TGIF. It is a Friday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you had a great weekend, an even better weekend. Tonight, I want to kind of go over a couple of things, and I want your advice. For the folks who are watching on TV, I'm going to be totally honest. I wasn't sure how this mayhem that we have had now for years on streaming and on social media was going to translate to television. I really wasn't, because it's a unique concept, right? I mean, it's totally interactive. I will tell you, the majority of the things that we run here on this show have been suggestions from y'all. And we've got a core group. And by the way, this dates back to almost 20 years ago, where we started just experimenting with live streaming way before Facebook Live ever went on. And we just kind of tried stuff. I mean, we would have hurricane coverage. I would be covering a storm all night, and we would literally be streaming live, doing movie quote trivia and 70s music trivia and just all this stuff. I'm going to give you a little background here. These monitors behind, do you remember the game Guitar Hero? You may or may not. I love it. I still love Guitar Hero. My family still plays it. Even though my boss is watching, whatever. We would hook up, we'd bring in a PlayStation, and we would hook up Guitar Hero into these monitors, and we would play Guitar Hero in between the breaks. So, and y'all would be there as well. So this has been going on for a long, long time. And over the last few years, when streaming has become a real big part of broadcast, I mean, look, we all know it isn't just a matter of turning on the TV anymore and being like, all right, well, I'm going to watch on what's ABC, NBC, or CBS. I mean, back in the day when I was growing up, those were the big networks. There was no Fox, and then there would be a UHF station that would play Spider-Man, or, you know, I would watch Spider-Man cartoons on it. That's all we had. And once we started expanding and streaming became a thing, then all of a sudden it opened up a lot of possibilities and opportunities. And one of them was this kind of show, this format. So we started experimenting a little bit. And the thing that's crazy about all of this is this entire show, and I'll be honest, I DVR'd, because I can get it on Spectrum, and I DVR'd the show when we had our Rays play-by-play announcer on, Dave, on Wednesday, because I wanted to see how it looked. I wanted to see if I was screwing everything up, because there's all these buttons to press, and, you know, I take all these graphics, and, you know, look, I can hit a button, and then boom, all of a sudden this comes up, or I take another button and I take things full screen. That is not a director. That is not a producer. That is not an engineer. That is them placing the entire show on my shoulders. That is a scary thought. So honestly, you guys know me. And that's the other thing. So it's taken us kind of to a different level because when it was just on Facebook and even just on streaming, I'm like, we went to black, or the audio's not working, or whatever, because it didn't matter because it was just us, right? But now all of a sudden, us is expanding to platforms other than we're used to, and I wanted to see how clean it looked on TV. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I was kind of shocked. It looks pretty good. It does. I thought for sure I was pressing wrong buttons. Who knew what was coming up? Back in the day, we used to not have my mouth would match the audio, so we would call it Godzilla. Dennis, Godzilla is on here now, because remember the old Godzilla movies where the mouths and the sound would not match up? Well, so that's kind of what this show is. Through the years, we've just kind of worked it out amongst ourselves. So my point of this giant monologue is when you see things that you don't think work, or see things that you think that do work, or better than that, the suggestions that you might have. Look, we're in this for the long run. And yes, during hurricane season, and when there's a big storm, you guys know we're going to talk all weather all the time. But for the new folks in town, I would liken this to maybe your first beer. Because maybe you had your first beer, and some people don't like beer at all, so this doesn't work for you. But for a lot of people, let's say you had your first beer, and you're like, I don't really like it. This is pretty terrible. And then you kind of grow accustomed to the beer a little bit, and then you started to like it a lot. I'm not going to say this show is quite like that, but for people who just want weather all the time, this ain't your show. I hope you stick around because you're going to get the weather you need. You're going to get the information you need. And my point is, again, look, if there's a storm around, you guys know me. I don't sleep. I eat, breathe all of this 24 hours a day, as do the rest of our weather team. Shay and Allie and Greg and Jason, we all really take a lot of pride in getting you the information you need when there's a storm. But when the radar looks like it is right now, and it's pretty quiet out, I know I used the Q word, whatever, we try to do some other things. And that's kind of why I love your input. And a lot of you are not shy in providing that input, and that's okay, because how are we going to give you kind of what you're looking for if I'm just over here pressing buttons? I mean, look, I got my Diet Dr. Pepper, and I got my band button, and that's all I need. But I'm really curious what y'all want, so that's why I always am looking for all your input. Steve in Clearwater. Stephen in Clearwater. So this is another thing. Stephen in Clearwater will continue to say, hi, Dennis, Stephen from Clearwater, until he's not a spammer, until I acknowledge him. So Steve, I see you. How you doing, my friend? Steve is showing up at our house for Christmas decorations, for our fundraisers. We got a lot of things coming up over the next few weeks, and I'm going to be sharing those coming as well. Debbie, happy Friday to you as well. Marie in Brooksville, good to see you. TGIF to you as well. Sandy, Charlotte. And Charlotte just said you have to remember commercial breaks. You're right. And that's why you guys are a big help. Hagen, last show yesterday, like, Dennis, it's about time for a break. And you know what? Because I don't have a producer. So here's this thing right here. Let me show you. This thing is called an IFB. All right. I have no idea what the heck IFB stands for. It's some crazy lingo. But this goes in my ear, and this is how I hear the producer give me a countdown or give me a time cue. We have no IFBs on this show because there is no producer, and there is no director, and there is no master control, and you could argue there's no talent either. But I am here to kind of fill all of those things. So anyway, all right, Kat saying you need sweater weather. Yeah, Kat, you're in the wrong place. You know this. We are going to be talking about our heat advisories because I think we're going to be looking at record heat. I think we're going to continue to see the possibility of heat advisories. There are already heat advisories on the East Coast. So what we're going to do, during the commercial breaks, a lot of folks are watching on TV and following along on the stream. It's the best of both worlds. So we're about to go to a commercial break. We're going to continue talking on the stream. And I'll tell you, TV folks, we're going to be talking about you. So if you want to be in on it, then watch on TV, follow along on the stream, and you got the best of both worlds. And we will be back in 90 seconds for an in-depth look at the upcoming weekend and how hot we're talking and when the rains are going to return as well. That's coming up as DPL continues. Okay, we are in a break, allegedly. So, Elaine, how you doing? Or Alyssa, good to see you as well. Nice to see you. And nice to see you. Yeah, the heat is absurd. Tina Oldsmar's in the house. Good to see you. Sarasota, Candace, Cheryl. Going to be in Clearwater tomorrow. You know what, Cheryl, so am I. So my schedule, my daughter has her last softball tournament tomorrow. I'm actually going to talk about that coming back. But she's in the Clearwater World Series. She's in her very last softball tournament. They made it to the championship round. And it's double elimination. They haven't lost yet. So if they win one game tomorrow, they win their tournament. And it would be really nice if she could win her last tournament. She is going the drama theater Broadway route. The girl is a performer. You guys know that. Most folks who are watching here on the stream, you've grown up, or she has grown up with y'all, and she ain't shy. That girl ain't shy, and she loves to perform. So she's still playing rec ball, but this is her last tournament tomorrow, and she's going to see how it goes. You know, she'll see how much she loves theater and drama full time, and then we'll see if she misses travel ball so much that she wants to go back in the spring. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, that's happening tomorrow, and then I'm going to be at Clearwater, so I might see you there. All right, we are back. How y'all doing on TV? If you were watching on streaming, oh man, the things we talked about. Again, you can check us out on both. So I was just mentioning this on the stream, and I do want to mention this. So a lot of y'all, my daughter has her last softball tournament tomorrow, her last travel ball tournament, World Series in Clearwater. They're actually in the championship game, and it's a double elimination tournament, and so they haven't lost yet in the elimination rounds. So if they win one more game, they win their tournament, and that's her last one. She's focusing in on theater and Broadway shows and singing and dancing, because that is her love right now. Maybe it'll change. But it's kind of sad because we've been doing this travel ball thing for several years, and it becomes your life. I mean, I've been sharing a lot of that with y'all, and I'm sure a lot of parents out there either lived it or know people who have, and it takes a massive commitment. And you spend a lot of time with these people, maybe more time than you choose to and want to, but because there's drama. I won't even get into the drama that goes on behind the scenes. But point is, it really becomes a part of who you are, and I am going to miss that. But Ryan's going to go the theater route, and if in 6 months she's like, nope, I miss softball, I'm going to do travel again, then we'll go back, because she's still young. She's just turned 11, and she's a good little catcher. She's a good little catcher, so we'll see if she misses it. All right, so unfortunately for tomorrow, that heat is definitely going to be on. Let's go ahead and jump right into the forecast app, jump right into it 11 minutes in. Key West is in the house with Paul. How you doing? So yeah, here is, and I will be answering your questions coming up. So in the final round is the Heat Lightning round. We will be talking all about answering your forecast, and then we'll continue on Facebook, and I'll go ahead and answer your questions as well. There's a look at the drought index. The numbers continue to improve with our rain that we've seen. But I'll tell you, for the next 2 or 3 days, we are not going to see a lot of rain. The only thing popping right now, there are a few showers, a couple of lightning strikes down south, and a few eastern Hernando, and that's it. We're in for a stretch today, tomorrow, and Sunday of well below average rainfall and well above average temperatures. Now, you get a heat advisory when the heat index numbers are 108 to 112. All right, that's what the numbers need to be for the Weather Service to say, we're going to pull the trigger and we have a heat advisory. Right now, we are in the mid-90s, but when you factor in the humidity, here are your feels-like numbers. Tampa was at 107 a couple hours ago, so right on the fringe of heat advisory numbers. Now, there were heat advisories issued for the eastern side of the state. Now, something I think is worth noting, we often get people questioning, well, how come the East Coast has a heat advisory and we don't? Or how come other parts of the country get heat advisories and they're not even as hot as us? These are great questions. Here's the answer. First of all, the weather service in Melbourne is different than the weather service in Ruskin. And there are times, there's the human element, there are times where the folks in Melbourne might pull the trigger on a severe thunderstorm warning or an advisory because they're looking at it a little bit different in terms of criteria than the Mets in Ruskin. In a perfect world, if everything was ideal and the same, then maybe everybody would be the same. But that's just not the reality of our world, right? So there might be times where a heat advisory may not be issued here where it would be very close to us just because the criteria is slightly different or because the Met on staff says, hey, on duty rather, says, I don't think it's going to be this, so they keep it below criteria. And then the next Met that comes on staff, they decide, I think it's going to be a little more, and they do pull the trigger and issue an advisory or a warning. So there's a lot of subjective stuff in this. Same thing with a frost or a freeze warning. Our freeze warnings and our hard freeze warnings are nowhere near the criteria as other parts of the country, because a freeze in our area has a bigger impact than a freeze, say, up north, because 28 to 32 degrees wreaks havoc for us, as opposed to up north, it's just an every day in the wintertime. So there are variables that come into play based on the geography of where you live. So that's why maybe right now there's a heat advisory on the East Coast, but there isn't so much on the West Coast. So as I look at your questions, again, in the last segment, I will definitely, and see you guys, and this is what's going on. I'm reading the comments, and you guys are doing your own thing, which is what I love. But if you have any questions for me specifically, whether you're out of the area, whether you're in the area, whatever, toward the last segment, I'll just be looking right at your questions and answering them real time in our Heat Lightning Round. Highs today, mid-90s, nearly record-breaking highs. And I find that fascinating. I'll show you that right now. 92 in Tampa, the feels like is 102. Here's what's crazy. So the average high in Tampa is 91 degrees today. The record is 95. There's only a 4-degree difference from the average high on July, whatever the heck today is, July 17th or whatever it is. I think it's 17th. There's only a 4-degree difference from the average everyday high for this date than the all-time record. Isn't that crazy? Think about that. Only a 4-degree swing from a daily average high to the all-time record in the state, because that's how steady our temperatures are this time of the year. And you think a record's got to be, 15 degrees warmer or whatever? Not in Florida, not in the summertime. Now, in the wintertime, the average low and the record low are significantly different. But in the summer, because of the water around us, things are actually about the same. So I find that very fascinating, but that's probably just the weather geek in me. Let's continue. Outside, there's a satellite. There's not a lot to show you. I mean, let's be honest. There's not a lot to show you. There's a couple of inland showers. Tonight will be dry. Tomorrow morning will be dry. It'll be warm. We're going to be looking at highs in the mid-90s, and the rain chances, you might see a few inland showers and thunderstorms between about 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock, just like we did today. And futurecast is showing eastern Pasco, Hernando. Might be about right. Maybe a little bit more to the north, but overall coverage only about 10 or 20%. Sunday, maybe even drier. I mean, look at that. Now, you're not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, absolutely, we're not going to see any rain at all. That's ridiculous. High pressure on top of us. Two things happen with high pressure. Subsident air or sinking air, which dries the air, and sinking air heats the air. So you'll have dry and hot weather with a subsident high right on top of us, and that's exactly what's going on. So, but we still have the variables of we're surrounded by water. So you're nuts to say 0 chance of rain. There's going to be something pop up, but it ain't going to be much. And if you look at Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the coverage is extremely low. Tuesday, I think it returns. Moisture returns. High temperatures tomorrow in the mid to upper 90s. If we go 95 in Tampa, that ties a record high. So we're going to be right on the fringe of record-breaking heat. You notice by the middle of next week, temps drop a bit. No, that, Sean, if you're in here, that's not a cold front. That's not 540 line, but that's a little more cloud cover with a better chance of rain. So that'll drop the afternoon highs just a little bit. I notice every show I keep pushing back the commercial breaks because I just start talking. Shocker. There's tropics, all's quiet. Yes, I used the Q word yet again. Oh, wait. So go figure. Just as I say that, look what happens on the 8 o'clock advisory. This is breaking weather, all right? So that wasn't there at 2 o'clock, but it's now there at 8 o'clock. So let's go ahead and see. And by the way, if you remember, if you've been watching DPL the last couple of nights, that is the area that the models were showing might develop a bit, but then fizzle after the islands. So here, let's go ahead and call this up, because literally this just popped. All right, so let's go ahead and take this full. It's breaking weather. All right. So here we go. Daniel, you are 100% correct. The talent level goes up when Ryan is live. She was actually going to be on the show today, but she's at the Dunedin Blue Jay game right now. All right, so here and we got to do a commercial break. I'm so behind. A tropical wave interacting with a broad area of low pressure is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms more than 800 miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions could become marginally conducive for gradual development late this weekend and next week. A 20% chance of development. By the middle of next week, conditions are forecast to become unfavorable. Why would that be? Because of this. Oh, my heavens, I am so going over here. I'm going to get yelled at. There's why. Saharan dust. So what does that Saharan dust mean for our weather? Does that impact our heat? We'll talk more tropics and answer your questions as DPL continues. Man, I am so over. Holy cow. All right, 1:30. This is going to be a very short segment before I go to the last segment. Yikes. Kathy, how you doing? Yeah. See, and this was my biggest fear with DPL is you know me. And by the way, that's the wrong graphic. This should be DPL, not DPL Plus. DPL Plus is Wednesday. Jonathan? And I just noticed that. Yeah, so DPL is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. DPL Plus is Wednesday. I don't know the difference, but I do know that DPL Plus is Wednesday. So we need to remember that. All right, 40 seconds left in the break. This is going to be like one of those shows on the 6 o'clock news when they come out of the commercial break. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Because the producer's heavy, because weather usually went long, because it's usually my fault. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's usually my fault. I have a propensity to go long sometimes. I get long-winded. Shocker. It's not news to anybody. All right, we're going to go back. We're back in 15 seconds. And I'm going to actually take that graphic right now and show it. So it'll be ready when we come back on. Okay. All right, we are back in 3, 2. All right, Josh, DPL needs to be not DPL Plus.
I fixed it.
You fixed it?
That's the right one.
Josh fixed it. Props to Josh. Josh, come on over and just show your face because, see, that is the kind of television that we just say something and Josh immediately fixes. This is Josh, our massive, awesome director. Stick your head. Oh, you're just going to do your thumb. There you go. There's Josh. He heard me talking about it. Thank you so much, Josh. So we have gone from DPL Plus to DPL as we should be on Friday. Anyway, quick look at the tropics. I just showed you that Saharan dust. We're going to look at the Euro AI right now. The Euro AI is the model I've been showing for 3 or 4 days because I've been talking about this wave, all right? And the wave itself, the Euro AI has been really, really good over the last year. Last year did a great job. And if you remember, if you've been watching the last few days, I've been showing you this model because it kind of picks up a little bit of development right there. See it? See it coming into the islands? Here, I'll circle it for you. I am going so heavy. All right, there it is. But at that point, it starts running into unfavorable conditions, drier air, and the models never really do much with it. It's a little wave, but it just kind of gets sucked up by a front. So, yes, the Hurricane Center does have a yellow area that is been circled. That just happened with breaking weather right here with a 10 to 20% chance of development. It ain't going to bother anybody. All right, so I just said it right there. it ain't going to bother anybody. Because even if it does develop, it's going to run into so many roadblocks that it could really do much. That's nothing to worry about. So, hot weekend, possible record highs, heat advisories, yellow blob out there that's not going to do anything. But let's answer your questions, right? And we'll do that with our heat lightning round coming up in 90 seconds. Man, that was a short segment because, as usual, you know me, I just start talking and then it's over. All right, so I am going to start looking at your questions and I'm going to fly through them. Debbie wants to ban the yellow blob. That is a good call, Debbie. That's a very good call. Nothing to worry about. And we've been talking about this thing for days. So it doesn't surprise. I got to get that graphic. I need to get that heat lightning round graphic, Mary. But I was thinking about this, and this is how bored I was today. So I was thinking, if there's no such thing as heat lightning, then how can you have a heat lightning round? Because then the round would not exist. Think about that one. That's what was going through my mind today. Well, wait a minute. Maybe we can't really have a heat lightning round since heat lightning doesn't exist, so that means this round wouldn't exist. Anyway, that's how bored I was. Yes, you are correct, Jemiah. That blob, yes, it does. Tess, I will mention that. That's a good question. And then I'm just going to be answering the questions. But that's actually a very, very good question about the AI. Wait a minute, are we back on? Nope, 10 seconds. And then we're out at 58. So this is going to be a quick heat lightning round. All right? We're back in 3, 2. Welcome back to Dennis Phillips Live. We've got 3 minutes of heat lightning round. One of the questions was, what is the Euro AI for new folks? The AI modeling is a completely different mindset for modeling. Instead of looking at the state of the atmosphere as is, they have gone back and thrown in decades worth of data, put it into a model, looks at the existing state of the atmosphere and compares that, the AI does, compares it to another time, another place where the situations were similar, and how did that play out, and compared that to now and made the forecast based on what happened before. It's an interesting philosophy. It's one I agree with. We do it a lot in long-range forecasting, and it was stupendous last year in terms of accuracy. Google has done one. The Euro does the same thing. What I had read, that they actually have data back to the 1940s. They throw it in a computer, and then looking at where we are now, the computer says, oh, that happened back in 1964, and this is what happened. So then it takes that and turns that into our forecast. It's an interesting mindset. All right, so I also was mentioning that the heat lightning round might not be the best words because heat lightning doesn't exist. So does that mean this round doesn't exist? Think about that one. Mine might explode in that one when you're in the middle of the night. All right, so bottom line, looking at that yellow blob, if you're just tuning in, someone said, ban the yellow blob. Why not? Because it's not going to bother anybody, all right? There's way too much dry air. If it were to go into the Caribbean, that's another story because the Caribbean, with all the warm water, better environmental conditions, but it's not going to, all right? So let us see. So are we looking about along the beach? Water temperature is now 86 degrees along the coast. So if you're going to the beach, and a lot of people are scalloping this weekend, it's still scalloping season in Pasco County, the weather's going to be great. You're not going to have to worry about storms. Taking the boat out, the beach looks good. Look, if there's ever anything, if you hear thunder along the coast, you want to hightail it out of there, but I don't think you will. I really think any storms that pop will be inland, and there's only going to be about 20 to 30% coverage. Let us see. Red tide, I do not have any information on the red tide, Alex, but you know what? Thank you for that. I will look for that for Monday's show because I think that's a legitimate thing that a lot of people are concerned about, especially if anybody's going to the beach. All right? So it was a quick 30 minutes. Folks watching on TV, you can flip over still to Facebook and ask a few questions. It was a great week, as always. I appreciate your loyalty. I look forward to your comments, and we will be back on Monday night on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Okay, TV is out. I'm going to actually watch it. I'm going to see if I get cut off or anything because because I'm able to, there's about a 15-second delay from when I say it to when it actually ends on TV. And it looks like it's pretty clean. I said Dennis Phillips Live, and we went to the, hey, it worked. I'm always amazed by that, because I'm truly convinced that, like, here is my worst case scenario, and I just talked to engineering about this today. This entire show is being run on a PC. Literally, just a regular old PC. Everything about this show is being run on a PC. And I kept thinking to myself, as we had all these thunderstorms this week, what if we take a power hit? We take a power hit, that computer reboots, we're off the air. We're gone. So that just entered my, I think about these things. I worry about this stuff. Now, if this had just been on Facebook, I don't care. If this had just been on streaming, broadcast is just different. And my mindset is just a little different on it. I'm more cautious, which is not usually me, right? But anyway, apparently that computer is hooked into our main grid. So if we have a power hit, we will not lose power and the show will continue. Because we all know at 7:30 to 8 o'clock at night during the summer, there's going to be thunderstorms. And there's plenty of storms right on top of us, but not tonight, not tomorrow, and not on Sunday. Okay, update. Really? Denise says again, no DPL on Frontier tonight. Interesting. All right, so we gotta talk to Scott in Master Control about that. See if he's still here. He might have left, because we can't figure that one out. Scott's gone. Once DPL's over, Scott's out the door. Okay. Well, so Denise, what was on instead of DPL? This is important. I need to know this. So Denise is saying, so I know it was on cable because I was watching Spectrum because I had it on there. But Denise, are you sure you paid your bill? Okay? Are you sure your TV was on? I'm joking. Denise is a long-time DPLer. So I don't know if that's the case, Stan. That is not what I'm hearing. I am not privy to such information, but I'm under the impression that DPL should be running on Frontier right now. So, okay, Denise, wait a minute. Okay, so we have two different, Spectrum had it. Yes, it was on Spectrum. I was watching it. But Denise is saying it was not on Frontier, but it's on the program guide. So, Denise, what was on TV from 7:30 to 8 on Frontier? Denise says, yes, I have auto pay, so I paid my bill. Look, I've had auto pay before, and sometimes my bill hasn't been paid over the years. You know what? I started as a chief meteorologist in Salisbury, Maryland, right? I did the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 11, and I was the night beat reporter who turned a package every night in between the 7 and 11 o'clock weather reports, and I made $11,000 a year. That was my starting salary. So I had that was before they even had auto pay. That was before they had computers. That's before they had televisions. Now, but just because I'm on auto pay doesn't mean that it worked. All right. Wait a minute. I'm still looking to see. So Cheryl says, okay, Deb is asking about Dish TV. Deb, I do not have that answer, but at this point, it has not been settled. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, wait a minute, Denise, wait a minute. How do you know it wasn't on Frontier if you don't know what show is on? I'm not grilling you, but how do you know the DPL was not on Frontier if you don't know what was on? Now, Debbie's saying it says unable to tune to selected channel. So what's on now? Okay, Gail is watching Frontier as well. Jules, how's it going? So So right now, what are we carrying? It looks like there's a lightning show on. It looks like there's a lightning show on the spot right now. So, no flooding. Donna, you'll be good. The rain next week will not be a problem. Another religious show, Kevin says. Nothing was on the channel. Tells you to try again later. See, now Cheryl's saying Chicago Fire was on. Somebody's saying nothing was on. Sandy says it was an hour-long show from Hawaii, but it said it was you. So we've got, you guys are making my job hard here. Somebody's saying nothing was on. Somebody's saying it was a show from Hawaii. Was it Elvis? And the other one is saying that it was Chicago Fire. So come on, guys. Work with me here. Yes, Tampa has never had 100 degrees officially. Cheryl saying Chicago Fire was on. Is the lightning show on right now? And Jill is, wait a minute. You guys are messing with me here. Jill is saying, when I tried to watch you on DPL, it was from the previous day. Stan says he has Frontier Fios and it's not showing anything. Tells you to try later. Alicia. By the way, Alicia, thank you for answering my question at 2 in the morning last night. Come on, guys. Lock in. That's what we always say when we're playing any sports in our family and it's not, and people are just doing ridiculous stuff. I'm like, lock in. Lock in, Ryan. All right, come on. Okay. Hawaii Fire? All right, that's it. All right, I'm ending this show if I do not get an answer because you guys are messing with me. I'm banning all of you guys. Somebody tell me what was on Frontier. I want that you saw at 7:30 on Channel 17 or 517. Now, the only person, I don't care what the guide says. No, now Denise is saying Magnum PI. Now, Denise, now you've just lost all credibility. The only reason you say that is because you know Magnum PI was in Hawaii. Denise, go poolside. So this is what Denise is usually, I'm watching you poolside. And Denise, are you poolside and not near your TV? Come on. Seriously. All right. Wait a minute. James, do you have Frontier? Somebody, please. This is supposed to be religious programming. I pray somebody gives me some honest answers on this. Because you guys are just, oh, it was Hawaii 5-0. No, it was Blue Hawaii. No, it was Magnum PI. No, it was Hawaii. Come on, Denise. All right. I know, the commercials are part of it, though. They are. Mary, I can ban whoever I want to ban. If you guys are messing with me, I'm banning everybody. I'm just going to turn this off. Come on. Somebody, please. All right. Wait a minute. So let's be honest. Denise, what do you mean you were watching it? How can you say you're watching it because you said it wasn't on? Denise, I've had enough. All right? Denise, I've had enough. You said you were watching it, but it was black. So how could it be in black if you were watching it? Did you sit and watch an empty screen for 30 minutes? I think not. We ain't ending this stream until I get to the bottom of this nonsense. So, Candace is right. All right. 2 things. Candace says, sounds like we'll never know. Jennifer says, weather? Hey, Jennifer, you're 37 minutes late. We already did weather, and we had a lot of weather. We had so much weather. Where were you? All right? That's like walking into the movies 2 hours in and say, I missed the previews. How come I missed the trailer? Lock in. All right. Anyway, Ryan wants to know about La Nina. Ryan, repent or be banned. See, this is what DPL ends up. I have not gone down this road on broadcast yet because this is really kind of what DPL is. All right, Denise says, you know I'm not messing with you. I never said that it was not on. Others said that. Oh, so now you're passing the buck, Denise. Now you're saying it wasn't on. Stand by. Denise. She was watching Magnum PI. Denise. Some people are still wanting to talk weather. Look, I'm telling you, I did weather. I did tropics. We had breaking weather with this yellow blob. That was breaking weather. We gave the forecast. We talked about heat advisories. I'm done with that. I want to know what the heck's going on with Frontier right now. And I'm not ending until I know, because this is a bunch of nonsense. No. Okay, good call. So Jose said the DPL Plus logo is still up. Okay, it is not. Okay, I don't think. But I thought the same thing when I looked back. Because look, there's a little plus right here, a little plus right there. I don't think that means DPL Plus. DPL Plus had the word plus on it. But you bring up a very valid point, and it kind of confused me too. So I may have to ask our graphics people if that plus should be there, because you'll think it's DPL Plus, because I thought it was DPL Plus. So Sean wants to know a good place in Polk County for barbecue. So I don't know. I did go to Pig Fest twice in Polk County. It was awesome. They had some great barbecue, but I don't remember exactly where it came from. Okay, so Natalie wants to know how I watched the Lightning games this year. Finally, guys, I'm not lying. Lock in. I want to know who was watching Frontier from 7:30 to 8. I want to know what was on TV. I got to know what was on TV. Now, Nicole, no, not Nicole. I'm not feisty, Anna Maria. I'm just, all right, this is for Anna Maria. You guys aren't, lock in. You guys are not helping. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how you watch the Lightning games. So Christy's like, what the heck is DPL Plus? You want me to be honest with you? I'll be honest with you. All right. DPL, Dennis Phillips Live, we were doing it whenever we wanted to, because it was on Facebook. Okay? It was on Facebook. And then it went on streaming. And then they're thinking, hey, and I did it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then the powers that be, they're like, hey, let's do it another night because people are watching and there's sponsors and stuff. So let's do DPL Plus, which is more than just DPL. Now, DPL Plus, the mindset is we have some of our reporters come in. We start introducing some of them, and they can do, plus stuff. So it's DPL plus the other stuff. So a lot of times if we have an interview, it'll be on DPL Plus night. If we have our reporters, like Nadine comes in a good bit, talks about insurance, it's on DPL Plus. See, that's how it started. The reality of it is sometimes if there's no reporters around, I just do DPL. But that is actually how it started. All right. Now, wait a minute. Okay, I gotta read. Okay, I understand. Yeah, that first pitch is, you can't throw paper very well. It throws your arm out. All right. Thursday, by the way, how many of y'all are going to come out on Thursday to the Clearwater Threshers game? I expect every one of you should be there. There's no excuse not being there. All right. Ryan, my daughter Ryan is singing the national anthem. Her first time ever singing anything like that in a microphone in a stadium. If you guys are really her aunts and uncles like you say you are, then you need to be out there. I'm throwing out the first pitch. I've thrown out maybe 8 or 9 first pitches over the years. It's always gone fine. I've played baseball most of my life, but I'm now pretty old. So all of a sudden, I'm like, do I got to practice a little bit? But if I practice, am I going to throw my arm out? Throwing these papers, misses throwing my arm out. So, but because I'm going to be live doing the weather Thursday night before the game, which starts at 6:30. Ryan sings at 6:20. No, I threw out first pitch at 6:20. Ryan sings the national anthem at 6:23, I think it was. I will have had a chance to warm up a little bit. So the only thing you got to remember, and again, that was good. So Dave Wills passed away a few years ago. Really good friend of mine, former voice of the Rays, just a great guy. His advice to anybody who throws out the first pitch, just don't bounce it. It's okay if you lob it, just don't bounce it. I'll get out there, I ain't gonna lob it. I know I won't. So it's far more, I mean, I could easily lob a ball and whatever, but that's no fun. Where's the challenge in that? But, you know, if you actually throw it a little bit, there's a chance you could leave it short because you're not just lobbing it. So I struggle with that. So I don't know if I should just lob it or if I should, and I know I won't. I know I'm going to throw it. So if I bounce it, I bounce it. But I will be live doing the weather there from 5 to 6:20. So I'll have a little chance to warm up a little bit. I'll be honest, I won't be nervous for the Threshers game. I am going to be nervous for the Rays game because I'll be throwing out the first pitch at the Rays-Dodgers game on August 3rd. That's going to be a full house. That stadium will be sold out to see the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. And so that one I'm going to be a little more nervous. But you got it. If you ever seen the movie For the Love of the Game, we are totally, people are like, is this weather? No, we already had weather. And I ain't doing weather again until I find out what the heck happened to Frontier. Tess, lock in, Dennis. Yes, you win on that one, Tess. I'll ban myself. That was great. But I probably be a little nervous for the Rays game, but I'm really looking forward to that. Oh yeah, we'll get video. We'll definitely get video. No, I am not, James, you're right. I will not lob it. That is not in my DNA. If I bounce it, so be it. But I have seen some people with some really pathetic attempts at throwing a first pitch. Mine will not be pathetic. I may bounce it, but if I bounce it, it's because I threw it hard. All right? So I have video of me throwing out the first pitch in Lakeland. It was at the Tigers minor league game. Actually, it was a preseason game for the Tigers. And they had the gun actually on it. Now, this was maybe 10 or 11 years ago. But it was pretty solid. So they won't be using a gun, but I ain't lobbing it. All right, here we go. Debbie, 17 and 5-17, Frontier is still messed up. Even now, 17 says Chicago Fire, but it's Magnum. Won't even tune into 5-17. Oh, I have thrown break. Dennis, I played ball through high school and into college. I did. I'm a decent baseball player, but that was 87 years ago. So now just to be able to lift my arm over my head requires some effort. So we'll see. We'll see how. Back to what we said. If you guys are fans of Ryan, then you guys come on out because it's going to be a lot of fun. Forget the national anthem and the first pitch are going to be fun. But then we're going to have a big old meet and greet. And we're just going to be hanging out there. Crooked Thumb's going to be out there with row number 7, Pale Ale. And that minor league park is an amazing park. It's awesome. Great big play area for the kids, big grassy area in the center field called the berm, and people hang out there. It's a blast. So I strongly encourage you to lock in and come in next Thursday to have our DPL meet and greet because it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, streaming ends. You guys are still talking Frontier. All right, let me scroll in. Jason, this old guy is doing too much talking and not enough locking in. All right, I love that comment. I'm going to laugh at that one. Tess, I'm even older than them. I'm even older than your brother. But I was there. I was there when they were there. I was there when they were there. So, I mean, look. You bring up a really interesting point, John. How I do the weather has changed dramatically since DPL, and I say for the better. So when you're on TV, especially you work nights and you're the chief, you feel like there's this mindset you have to have, and you're like, got to be a little more serious. I used to do mornings here. I did mornings for 7 years, and it was fun, and you could just joke around, and morning television was way lighter, right? But once I went to nights and I was chief, you get this mindset you're supposed to be more serious. But that's changed. I mean, think about it. Back then, you would never see anybody on TV without a tie. Now there's people with no ties, no jackets, whatever. It has changed dramatically because the way people perceive everything has changed. So when I started doing DPL, I just more myself. I just having more fun. And that has translated into how I do the weather on TV as well. Now, I won't be banning people on TV. If I could, I might. But we don't have the ban button. But you know what I'm saying? It's just a more at ease presentation than it was back when, everything was so formal. And there's guys out there. This is a guy who runs a blog for television stuff, and he's still living in the 60s. He still thinks that everything needs to be like it was back in the days of Walter Cronkite. And I vehemently argue with that because the viewers are not the same now than they were back then. They're just not. Things have changed dramatically. And because of that, you have to adapt as the viewers change. Now, you can make the argument not as many young people are watching the news. They get their news on demand, or they get it on TikTok, or whatever the case may be. Here, Josh is calling me, my son Josh. Just a second. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
What's up?
Hey, quick question. Do you have a second?
I'm still on DPL.
Oh, goodbye.
But no, what's the question?
No, I was just asking if we had anything planned in late October.
Outside.
3rd weekend.
I don't believe we do, outside of maybe hurricanes.
Okay. Yeah.
Why, what's going on?
I'm thinking about doing a trip to Boston, and I was trying to see if we had anything going on.
Oh, I don't think we do. No, I don't think so. The Christmas.
On speaker?
No, you're not on speaker.
Okay.
Chris. Oh, here, I'll put you on speaker. Just a second. Wait a minute. All right, this is my son Josh, who is a recent FSU grad and now works in Tampa. Josh.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the show.
And Josh just asked me what we're doing the end of October, because you're going to go to Boston?
Yeah, I think Alyssa and I are going to go to Boston.
This is his girlfriend. That's pretty awesome. But everybody's saying hi, Josh.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, Boston in the fall is awesome. So
Yeah, I've never been, so.
You've never been? We've never gone to Boston?
No, you went with Brett, but I don't think we ever went.
Oh, I went with his older brother, but not as young. Oh, boy, I'm a bad dad. Really?
Yeah.
Or were you just young?
No, I didn't go. Definitely never went.
You didn't ride on the duck?
To go to Fenway.
Well, that was a different trip. You didn't go on the duck tours? You didn't get to go on the duck tours?
No, I don't think I was there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we all know that Boston won't be playing in October, right? Ha ha. Might piss some people off in the chat with that.
No, you're good. All right, well, anyway, love you very much. Have a good afternoon or a good evening, and I will see you tonight or tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, buddy, love you.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so what was I talking about? What the heck was I talking about? I always answer the calls. Look, the kids call, you answer, because any parent knows that's exactly what you do. Wait a minute. We were still trying to figure out what the heck's going on with Frontier, and I'm still looking at that. But wait a minute. All right, well, all right, okay. Last chance. Somebody tell me that they were watching Frontier from 7:30 to 8 and tell me what was on TV. I don't care what the guide said. I don't care if your neighbor said something. I want to know firsthand if you were watching, if it was Magnum PI or whatever. I want to know. Okay? Oh, we were talking about pitching. Yeah. Well, anyway, so bottom line, I hope that I don't bounce. I hope that I don't bounce the pitch. Now, I don't think I will. We do sell them, Bridget. We do sell the Rule Number 7 sweatshirts. It's on a completely different forum, and we haven't made it public yet because we only have 1 or 2 colors because it's a lot of work. But I promise you, in the next week, I will be posting on my page It won't be a ton of different colors, but we will have at least 5 or 6 different colors of hoodies, tank tops, the whole 9 yards. Over here, since we're on Facebook, I can do this. I'll show you. This is the one that we have. And I want somebody to tell me what was on Frontier. Lock in. All right, hold on. I'm back in the depths of, where's the other sweatshirt? Wait a minute, oh, here it is. Fell on the ground. All right, so this is one of the sweatshirts that we have available. It's the one that I wore yesterday. This is one of the hoodies. It's available in royal blue, this color, royal blue, this is oatmeal, I think. 3 or 4 other colors. Proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network and Feeding Tampa Bay. Here, I'll show you. You can see it up close. So we have this in Seminole colors. We have it in Ray's colors. See, there it is. So there, need more light, but whatever. You can kind of see it. So the proceeds go to charity, and we've had a problem last year with our distributor. They went under. It was horrible. It was the biggest one in the country, and they started just messing with everybody. It was awful. And we had to go to another distributor. So, all right, here we go. I want to know, I'm looking who has, do we have, I think we have zipped hoodies, Debbie. I'm pretty sure we do. Charlotte, sock shuffle and lock in. Yes, yes. Hey, Josh. Josh is on here now. Josh just said, thanks for having me on. Gosh, I want to know. Anna Maria, I don't think I'll get to meet Ohtani, although I would love to. And Josh, by the way, is a massive baseball fan. So he's the same as me. I mean, we're both probably going to be pretty enamored by seeing Shohei Ohtani, you know, right there. So, I mean, we're Rays fans. We're a big Rays family. Y'all know that. But seeing Ohtani would be pretty cool. All right, I'm going to scroll back up and see if anybody saw us on Frontier. Let's see. See you, Jules. Thank you, Randy. All stars also go to Children's Miracle Network. Denise said 2 people already vindicated me. Scroll up. All right, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling. I'm still scrolling. But I can't scroll because they go away, Denise. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Yeah, see, it only lets me scroll so far. It only lets me scroll so far. So you got to post it again. Venice, how you doing, Venice? Sandy, how you doing? How did I come up with rule number 7? Valdez is asking. That's a really good question. Back in 2012, Hurricane Isaac was coming this way. All right, Hurricane Isaac, and the Republican National Convention was at Amalie Arena, or the Ice Palace, and people were freaking out because they were thinking they were going to have to move the RNC to Jacksonville because we were going to have a hurricane. And I knew it wasn't going to give us that bad weather. I knew it would be okay. So I made these 7 rules about Hurricane Isaac. And that specific one, talking about there's windshield wiper effect and blah, blah, blah. Don't freak out unless I'm freaking out. We're fine. Now, that was about Isaac. That was not in general what the rule was for hurricane season. But it kind of took on a life of its own. And at the same time, it's very much the message I like to give. Don't freak out unless I'm freaking out. We're fine. In other words, you have to make a decision to provide for the livelihood and the well-being of your family. And how are you going to do that if you're freaking out? You need to keep your head screwed on straight. So you settle down. You have time with a hurricane to make those decisions. If you have to evacuate, you're going to know 2 days in advance. And so you pick up and go. But if you're freaking out, you're not going to be able to make those decisions in a effective fashion. So that is how it started. It was about Hurricane Isaac in 2012. And now, 13 years later, it's a fundraiser. We've raised tens of thousands of dollars for local charities. It's been just crazy the way that it kind of played out that way. But that is how it started. All right, now I'm still scrolling. Nokomis is in the house. How you doing, Cheryl? 2 people said Chicago Fire was on at 7:30. Okay. So I am going to trust those two people and say that Chicago. Now, see, I talked to our master control operator a little while ago because Frontier, okay, now see? Now Sandy is saying Frontier said you were on but showed Magnum PI. So we're back to Magnum. I give up. I'm banning everybody. I give up. All right, yes, we are streaming on YouTube. That is correct. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate it. So, Denise, you were apparently not too far off when you were talking about Magnum PI. Even now, 17 says Chicago. Well, Chicago Fire comes on at 8 o'clock. So that is a thing. I don't know. I'm befuddled. I give up. All right, whatever. So then just, if it doesn't work on Frontier, then watch us somewhere else. There's antennas you could plug in, OTA, or switch over to Spectrum. I don't know what to say, but if it's not working on Frontier, they got to get that fixed. So there we go. It is a religion, Charlotte. That is correct. Debbie, you think the band button needs batteries? No, it sounds every bit as good as it always has. Yeah, really. Yeah. Tom Selleck for the win on that one, Anna Maria. Well, that was back in the day. Now, maybe nowadays I could take him. But Tom Selleck back in the 70s was the guy, right? But Tom's, I think, in his 80s now. How old is Tom Selleck? I think I just read somewhere that Tom Selleck is in his 80s. Tom Selleck's age. He's 80 years old. Yep. I thought it. See, my children ridicule me because I know quite a bit about Taylor Swift. Because I follow social media and pop culture. I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on my feed a lot. And things scroll through my Facebook feed, and I have a really good memory. And that's my forte. That's how I got through college with really good grades, because my memory is super, super good. Not smart, just good memory. And I'll remember things. And I remember that Tom Selleck is 80 years old, or in his 80s. So anyway, but I see things about Taylor Swift, and I'll know something. I'll say, oh, did you know that, I don't know, the song All Too Well was written because of whatever? Or did you know that this other song was about Katy Perry? And they're like, no, I didn't know that, Dad. You're a Swiftie. Like, no, I'm not. I'd seen it on social media. Whatever. Anyway, what temperature is it in Fort Myers? Hold on. Sion just says, so you answered the question. Frontier YouTube is working. Wait. So you answered the question. Frontier YouTube is working. Frontier Fios does not. Fios is cable. YouTube is internet streaming. It went right over my head. I think you're right, Stan, but I don't know what that means. Anna Maria, you got hidden by Facebook because you swore. That's funny. That is, she said, talking about Tom Selleck, and he's still, I can't say it, I don't think. It starts with a D, get it? It's not a bad word. The Hoover what? Right? And still Hoover blank fine at 80, okay? So that's what Anna Maria said, and she got hidden. All right, so either way, their guide said DPL and was showing DPL until last night. Got it. So as of last night, it stopped working. Yeah, so Charlotte's saying Chicago Fire's on at 8. That is correct, because I've looked at the guide. So it wasn't Chicago Fire. So Charlotte. All right, so the bottom line is, out of this last 30 minutes, we absolutely have no resolution whatsoever. Nobody locked in, and we don't have an answer. I like Stan's solution, but I don't think so, because I stream directly to YouTube from this computer. This computer goes to this computer. This computer goes out to my YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. And then that goes to our station's Facebook page. But I don't No. I know, Harold. I know. It's back to the whole Swiftie thing. I know. It drives me crazy. So, yeah, I don't have the answer. But we can reach agreement in most parties that DPL was not on Verizon tonight or last night. That is what most people are saying. Oh, wait, we have another question. Monica, I am from Newport Richey. Right now, I'm on a cross-country RV travel through the U.S. hearing all the bad news of what's happening in our area scares me. I hope we're not coming back to disaster. What? No, you're fine. You're fine. Monica, you are fine. The flooding that was going on in the desert Southwest is a real thing, but that has been over for a while now. So you should be okay. Now you guys are talking about the new Magnum PI. Too funny. I will not, Charlotte, it must have been the other Charlotte. I'm with you on that. Francine's asking what about the weather. Francine, we are now an hour and 4 minutes into the show. Okay, so I'll say this again. If you walk into a movie theater an hour into a movie and you miss the first 15 minutes, who's that on? We did a lot of weather the first 20, 30 minutes of the show. We did some weather the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the show. Now we're trying to do some sleuthing, some internet sleuthing as to why DPL was not on Frontier tonight. Denise, you are correct. So Stan is saying correct with Frontier Fios TV. I'm growing weary. I don't understand. I think Stan knows what's going on here, but I just don't understand what he's saying. So Nancy's like, sorry, I missed it. Show starts at 7:30, guys. 7:30. Ends at 8. Ends at 7:58. And then we just continue on Facebook. And today, apparently, we're just continuing because we're trying to find out what the heck happened with Channel 17. Exactly, Anita. It's like walking into a comedy show late. I don't know about you. I love seeing movie trailers. I do. I like seeing movie trailers. So I will get to the movies 15 minutes before it starts, so I see the trailers. I don't get in 45 minutes late. If I get in there 45 minutes late, I make the assumption I will not see the trailers. Okay? If there is severe weather or there's anything more than just nothing going on, a couple of showers, we will be talking weather. Now we are far more obsessed with trying to figure out why the heck this show is not on Channel 17 on Frontier. Linda in Fairfield, Ohio, how are you doing? See, now there's Josh. Josh, my son, doesn't like getting there early. By the way, Josh is our family is an avid movie-going family. My oldest son, Brett, doctor in New Orleans, got his graduate degree in film, loves film. Josh is a AMC A-Teams, right? The A-Teams, that TV show in the 80s. What's it called? The A-List. Josh is an AMC A-List member, so he goes and sees a ton of movies. So as a family, if I'm driving, we usually go early. One, because I like to take time to get the popcorn. I've just noticed this lately. I've been finishing my popcorn before the movies even start. And I noticed that at Superman, because Josh, we saw Superman. The family saw Superman last week. Fantastic Four next week. Going to see that one. But I've noticed, we bought 2 orders of nachos, big things of popcorn, refillable. So if you get the refillable popcorn, if you have a big group, you can have them put the popcorn in a box and then refill it so you don't have to go during the movie and miss it. See, that's a little hack right there, a little life hack. But I noticed that, Josh. I was done with the popcorn even before the movie started. It's not good. James Bada, Dennis Phillips, rule number 7, beer at the Crooked Thumb. Oh, at the State Fair. Nice. Okay, so Denise is still looking for vindication. Denise is still saying, I've been vindicated by 3 people. Wait a minute. Well, how did they vindicate you? Mike did not realize we were on 5 days a week. Mike, lock in. By the way, Josh is the one who's actually, my wife started the whole lot. I don't know if it was Josh or Robin. Who started the whole lock-in thing, Josh? Was that you or Robin? But they use it all the time. Josh is a big lock-in guy. For whatever reason, that's our family thing. But yes, we're on 5 days a week. And you know what? We are also on this TV channel, apparently, allegedly, on Frontier Channel 17. But maybe we're not, because the last 2 nights, according to some, we have not been on. Can I throw out the first pitch? Bonnie, that is another great example. Do you throw out the first pitch in the 5th inning? No. You throw out the first pitch before the game starts. So for anybody coming in here at 8:38 saying, where's the weather? You're an hour and 8 minutes late, okay? Lock in. All right. We might have a new one. The lock in may have transferred over. Okay. So I'm still waiting to see. Oh, yeah. So there are new chairs. We went to the Dolby one at AMC Oldsmar. They have new chairs. They've got the new high-tech chairs that recline and stuff, but I guess they were getting old and beat up, so they replaced them all. So there's all new chairs. We went last week, and they were all new chairs, and they worked. So saw the new Superman. Didn't think I'd like. They changed. I'm not getting. Josh always says I give away spoilers. Not going to give away a spoiler on this, but James Gunn really changed a massive part of Superman lore in that movie. So look for that. Didn't change Superman, but changed the lore of Superman. Anyway, if you go to see it, there you go. All right, Denise is still talking about Magnum PI. So, Denise, are you saying, yeah, exactly, Ryan, the national anthem in the bottom of the 3rd with 2 outs? No. So, this will repeat unless I delete it, and I don't think I'm going to delete it. And if you go in 5-10 minutes into DPL, you'll have all the weather you could possibly imagine when there's really not a lot going on. We broke the orange blob from the Hurricane Center on DPL. Before you saw it anywhere else, we broke that there's a new yellow blob out there. And there it is, by the way. That's why I continue to show it. But at the end of the day, that yellow blob is not going to do anything. Okay. Now, Josh, wait a minute. You're saying that is not a spoiler. Josh, way to avoid a spoiler that's never happened. Look, saying that Superman lore has changed is not a spoiler. A spoiler would be telling them what that lore change was, is a spoiler. I'm just saying James Gunn, the director, made a rather large change to Superman lore. That's all. That's not a spoiler. It could be anything. Superman could really be Batman. I mean, that would be a change to lore. Superman could really be whatever, right? By the way, did you notice, Josh? Now I'm having a one-on-one with Josh. Did you notice in the movie, and this is in the trailer as well, when Superman is holding up the monster and there's a dog underneath that is a direct theft from Shazam. Remember? In Shazam, the exact same thing happened. Shazam, Captain Marvel, was holding up a bus, and he was going to throw the bus down, but there's a dog sitting there. And he's like, shoo, shoo, shoo. I'm surprised the Shazam people didn't say, hey, you took that from us. I don't know if you noticed that, Josh. But, yeah, the lore has changed. It's a really big change, too. Oh, okay. All right, Josh. Well, I didn't know. You know, I'm only... By the way, did you see Josh called me a dingus? I don't even know what that... I do, because that's what our family calls each other. But, yeah. Wait a minute. I'm still scrolling up. I'm scrolling up for anybody who can tell me, besides Denise, that Magnum PI was on at 7:30. Okay? I can't tell you the lore change, Christopher, because that would be a spoiler. I will not do that. However, I will tell you, when you see... No, I'm not even going to tell you that. So, I almost did. I almost gave away. There's a cameo. By the way, A lot of people did not notice that a particular actor was a cameo in this movie because he looked very different. I picked up on it. Josh, did you? We didn't talk about this. We usually have these big discussions after the movie. I picked up on the cameo. Yeah, he does. Josh, yeah, Anita, that's a family thing. Valid point, Ryan. Valid point. Well, no. Did Superman change in a, oh yeah, he did. No, did Superman change in a phone booth? Yeah, I guess he did. I'm drawing a, was it Superman in a phone booth? Had to have been. Yeah, it had to have been. All right, so Tammy, you are saying that you saw Magnum PI on Verizon Channel 17 from 7:30 to 8. Is that what you're saying? Tammy only. She might have been answering something else. But I believe Tammy is saying that she saw Magnum PI at 7:30. Now that's another interesting, this is starting to turn into the old days DPL here. If you're looking for weather, weather's done. So we were having this discussion on the set today during commercial break. So we're talking about the new James Bond. And I thought Henry Cavill, who was Superman, that's the tie-in, would have been a great James Bond. And there was a lot of people who thought that he might be named the new James Bond. But there's a new guy who is the odds-on favorite, who I was not familiar with. But we were talking about the whole James Bond thing. And I also read today on social media, because Josh, as I told these folks earlier, I knew Tom Selleck was 80 years old. I know a lot about pop culture because I follow it on social media, as I know that Katy Perry was one of the Taylor Swift songs, you know, the whole Swiftie thing. But I also read that Sydney, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Is it Sydney Sheldon? Ryan's getting on the act. Well, this is Facebook now, so we can go ahead and do this. Hold on. Ryan, I am still on DPL right now.
Wow.
Wow. That is actually, yeah. Aaron Taylor Johnson. You're right, Josh, but there's actually another one. There's a newer guy, even more new rumor that just came out today. Not Aaron Taylor Johnson, another guy, a redheaded guy. Ryan, how you doing?
We just left from the baseball game.
How was it?
It was good. They're losing by 1 run, right? Well, when we left.
So Ryan is at the Dunedin Blue Jays because, why were you there? Tell about your softball thing.
Well, we had a pin trading event, so we all brought our team pins. So we had firecracker pins, and we would go around the stadium, and other teams would have their team pins, and then we would trade them.
It is Sydney Sweeney. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. So did you get some good pins, sweetie?
Yeah, I only had 8 because I used my leftover pins from Panama City.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
But I got some pretty good pins from when I did trade.
Now, I told everybody we were talking about tomorrow as your last travel ball tournament. Are you sad?
I'm sad. There's a lot of mixed feelings. So I'm sad. I'm happy too. But I'm also it's hard because I'm leaving a lot of my friends, and I've been doing it for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be sad, but it's also gonna give me a lot more free time, or so I think, because now I'm starting that TOTA stuff, and there's so many lessons that they're they want me to do. So
yeah. So for people who are wondering what in the world is going on here, So DPL has crossed over from weather now. We're just talking about whatever we want to talk about. And it used to be like this. We would go on for hours like this. And I was talking earlier saying that this is Ryan's last tournament in travel ball. She's still going to play rec, but she's focusing on drama and singing and whatnot. And
Be a superstar.
yeah, she wants to be a superstar. She wants to be a superstar. So that requires a lot of work and a lot of practice, and she's focusing on that. You're still planning on playing rec, though, right?
Yes, but if like it ends up being like there's more stuff because there's this like Toda service like singing group that I could do in 7th grade if I auditioned for it, and I want to be able to do that, but I have to like train like more, and I have to like practice more. But that's something that you go around like the community and then you do like performances.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good experience. I mean, and the classes, there's a lot of classes. And next week, you're actually doing a camp over at the Straz for the first time, too.
I am. I'm so excited. And I'm going with a friend, which is going to be great because then I, don't walk in there alone, you know?
Yeah, I get it. Well, why don't you invite everybody to come watch you sing the national anthem on Thursday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm also, excited. I'm not that nervous. I'm probably more excited than I am nervous.
And you're going to get a chance to practice on the mic beforehand. That's already set up. So, yeah, because she's never sang in a stadium before. So it's different. You know, there's the reverb, there's the sound that goes around. And so so that'll be different. But you'll be great. You will be awesome. And you know all your aunts and uncles, all thousands of your aunts and uncles out there will be cheering you on. And also you're bringing your softball team, right?
Yes, I'm bringing my softball team and my best friend.
Yeah. So, and they'll be on the field with you, so it's going to be a blast. So,
yeah. But with the Toda thingy, what me and Mom have decided what it would be called, travel singing.
Travel singing?
Yes.
How about travel performing? Because aren't you going to do more than singing? Aren't you going to act?
Yes, we're gonna. It's there's choreography and there's singing.
So maybe travel performing might even be a little more appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, travel performing.
All right. Well, I'm with you. It'll be great. And maybe that means I won't have to be 4 a.m. wake-up calls to drive to Bartow or Auburndale.
But it might be 4 a.m. driving to Universal to perform.
Well, that would be kind of cool.
It would be. But we could still go places that we have to wake up at 4 a.m., but we just have to, but it would be a performance.
Got it. Yeah.
Which is better.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will tell you, Ryan's a catcher, and she caught today, did a great job. She's a good little catcher. Ryan is little. Well, I shouldn't, but she,
I'm short.
Yeah, she's short. But she knows the game, and she loves to catch, and she's so good at it. She really is. I'm not just saying that as a dad. She's an excellent catcher. And she takes charge on that field, and she works her pitchers. And I am going to miss that. I'm going to miss seeing you do that. But the bottom line is you're going to be doing this, and if it's your love, it's great, and you're still having an opportunity if you decide I really miss travel or I miss softball to go back and do it because you just turned 11, so you still have plenty of time.
Yeah, and especially I'm still going to be playing rec, so I'll still have practice in.
Yeah, exactly. And actually they even said that Josh sends stars. Josh sends stars. All stars go to Children's Miracle Network. Josh, that's sweet. And you're going to be they said they've offered you to be a guest player on the team, too, if they need people. So you'll still keep your hands in it.
I'm definitely going to guest. That would be so fun.
Yeah. So, all right, sweetie. Well, I love you very much. I will see you tonight. And her tournament tomorrow is at, 10 o'clock? Is that right?
10. Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah. So
we're driving to the Sand Pearl.
Oh, fun. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, have a great time, and I will see you later, and I love you very much.
Love you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Ryan. You guys knew that already, though. So, they haven't picked the new James Bond yet, Mike. The guy that my son mentioned, Aaron, whatever, I can't remember what his name is, Aaron Taylor something, was kind of like the lead. People were thinking it was him, but no, actually, Ryan, we've had DPLs that have lasted hours and hours. This is, especially during hurricane season. Matter of fact, we had one last year during Milton that Jason took over, and it ran 4 hours, and the stream ended after 8 hours because there was a time limit on the package that I bought. Because I buy these streaming packages, and I didn't realize there was a limit. There was an 8-hour limit, and literally it shut it off after 8 hours. I'm like, what happened? What happened? And I went and looked at it, and it hit the time limit. So we're nowhere near that. And Jules, yeah, you're right. We used to do those late night DPLs all the time when there was storms around, and it was different back then because it wasn't on Facebook. We had our own streaming platform that would show up on a link, and you would never have to worry about showing a picture from YouTube of a fireplace and getting it immediately cut off, or playing a song and that song immediately gets you cut off. Those, because it's always out there listening now, and back then it wasn't. This was back in the other days. Yeah, no announcer was officially announced. Here, I'll tell you the name of the new guy that I looked at that they were talking about today. The new person that they're talking about is Scott Rosie Marsh. Scott Rosie Marsh is the new rumored James Bond. But again, it could still be anybody. They haven't announced anything. I would still vote for Henry Cavill because I love him. Yeah, and Idris Elba. Actually, you're right, Mary Ellen. But I think they're trying to go younger, is what it sounds like, because they want to have somebody who they could keep in that role for a while. Whereas if you're talking about a guy who's in his 40s, then by the time he's in his 50s, he's pushing it, and they got to reboot it again with the new one like they did with Daniel Craig. So, Jill, I ditched my music on the treadmill to watch the weather. Jill, this isn't the weather anymore. We know this. We've already gone over this. Well, Harold, this is what DPL used to be before we got a little more regimented and more formal and more mainstream, I guess. It used to just be, we're just talking and just back and forth. And honestly, to me, that works great in this forum. I don't think it works as well on TV because the people watching on TV, there's a decent number that are flipping channels and they just see it and they stop, and that won't resonate with them, in my opinion. I don't think it would. But this is the kind of stuff where, you know, we're just chit-chatting. And I'll tell you this story, and I know you guys have heard this story before. I was going to tell this on TV today, but I forgot. So at my Crooked Thumb meet and greet last year, not this past one, but this previous year, we had a girl show up. She was maybe 26, 27, and she had just moved here the year prior. And she was by herself. She moved down here for a guy, and the guy broke up with her. And she was by herself. And she was devastated. She was in a really bad place. And she found DPL. And she developed relationships and friendships, even though they're virtual, whatever. I mean, you can call them virtual, but the reality of it is this is a nightly thing, and people are here most every night, and you get to know people really well. And there's private conversations and whatnot, and it turns into a family feel to it. It truly does. And I know it sounds weird, but it's the way this has been, and it's been like this for 20 years for us with this group. And she literally said that this group got her through a very, very dark time. She was by herself, she was depressed, she was lonely, and she said when she came to the Crooked Thumb, she said, I'm not really there much anymore, because I've met someone else, and my evenings are spent in my relationship and whatnot. But she came out to thank us, to say if it wasn't for this group, she's not sure how she would have made it through. But it kept her through. It kept her going, and that just struck me. I mean, it really did, because I get it. There's so many people out watching, whether they're on TV or streaming or Facebook. You know, we don't know their situation. But at the end of the day, I truly believe this is a group that, you know, cares about each other. Now and like all families, if you watch the show The Bear, that is a dysfunctional family. I mean, if you've ever watched the show, it is about as dysfunctional as it gets. But they still love each other. And this group, there's some dysfunction to it. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But it's still a group that we kind of have bonded together, and I really love that about this group. I really do. So, well, exactly, Bobby. I mean, it's not regimented on TV, but it's more than this. I mean, it really is. All right, so let's see. All right, well, anyway, at the end of the day, guys, it's 9 o'clock. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm going to eat some dinner. But I still have no idea what was on Frontier from 7:30 to 8. So I give up. But I will make the assumption that it wasn't DPL. And that would be the second night in a row that that was the case. So it is organic, Hagen. That is exactly what this show is. This show is, there's no direction to it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But this particular group, it's a bunch of people that I think really, kind of care about each other, and it's entertaining and therapeutic and religious. So maybe the programming was right from the beginning. All right, guys. Well, you have a great night, and next week, Monday, we are going to see what is on Frontier, and I'm going to post about it before DPL starts. If you're watching on, you know what? I'll just post right now. What was on Frontier, Channel 17 from 7:30 to 8, because I'm hearing it wasn't DPL. We're going to have a heck of a lot more people who might be able to answer. I banned myself. I should have figured that out an hour ago. Okay, have a good night. Have a good weekend. We will see you on Monday on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live, guys. Have a great night.